Welcome to This Got Me Thinking, where clarity comes from conversations and the connections that spark from them. I am your host, Chris LaFay, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with Emily Aborn. Emily's story isn't about a single dramatic failure or even an overnight success. It's about the quieter moments that shape how you lead. Closing a business you worked years to build, rebuilding your career while exhausted, and realizing that the way you collaborate might matter more than how hard you grind. We talked about energy, community, burnout, and why doing things the scalable way isn't always the right way. I'll let Emily tell her story. So tell me a little bit about how you got started doing what you do.
Copywriting specifically?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I actually started with a mattress store. And I will tell
Normal
you,
start to every story is
totally. Yeah. So I've always known, like, since I was a little kid, this is the story of so many entrepreneurs. I've always known I wanted to have a business, and I had all these like lemonade stands and all this stuff, Anyway, I finally opened my first business in 2014. And the reason it was a mattress store is because I had a background in health education. And I had worked at this non-toxic bedding and mattress store down south. And when in working for them, I was like, ooh, I think I could make this even better and have all these little special touches and do all these.
You said non-toxic.
Yeah, don't Google that.
I would hope. Are mattresses toxic by default?
I don't want to scare people, but you can go ahead and Google that on your own time and find all the information you'd like about not just your mattresses, but the foam in your couches and things like that. So I'm happy to be apart from that world now because it's not in my everyday thoughts and thinking that I'm being poisoned by my furniture. However, we sold the alternative to it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So that was in 2014, and we did that for 4.5 years. My husband and I owned that business together. And I'm really happy we pivoted when we did because we had no idea the pandemic was coming, and that would have been, I think, death for our little retail shop. But it was a good, successful operation. Pun intended, we just got tired, really, really tired of doing that. And neither of us were that excited about keeping it going. So also the bed in the box kind of phenomena, it was really starting to take over the industry, and it was hard to compete with that. Those were prices I had nothing on. I had this massive overhead as a retail shop, and you're competing with, yeah. So we decided we were going to move away from that. And I was working with a business advisor at the time. And she sat me down. She's like, okay, you need to think of a couple things here. First of all, we need to market either the sale of this business or the liquidation of this business. Something needs to happen there. Second, you need to think about what you're going to do next, right? And I'm like, I haven't thought about that yet. Yeah. So she had me sit down and just kind of think about all of my past jobs. I've had more jobs than I am ages and years. So I had to think about all my past jobs, this business, what I liked, what I didn't like. And the theme that just continuously came up for me, it was writing, but at that time it was a little more wide. So it was marketing, just marketing in general. Every job I ever found myself in, I was always how can we market and make this? I always had my foot in this marketing, I guess, perspective for the business. So I started just to tell people that I would help them with their marketing tasks. And in the closing of that store, we did try to sell, that it just didn't, we had two buyers and they fell through. But in the closing of that store, I think I had 13 paying clients by the time we closed. And I was like, well, I guess I'm starting this next business.
And what amount of time was that in?
So I think that was, okay, so we decided in January and we ended up closing the doors in April. So it was 5 months. Yeah. 4 months.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was a fast transition.
Realizing you like marketing, how did you go find the while also, sorry, I asked about 20 questions in
That's
2
okay.
sentences.
I do the same thing.
I just get new ideas, and the new ideas are always better than the first ones. Given the amount of logical stress involved in selling a business, while also trying to go out and find clients, like where did these clients just come from? Did they just magically appear at your doorstep?
Well, some of that had to do with the advice she gave me before this, which was that I had to go out and meet people. Because I tell you what, like a lot of business owners do, I was very, very isolated in my business and I kept to myself and I did all my little email marketing and my social media marketing and I advertised in newspapers and magazines and I didn't talk to anybody. So, except my clients and my customers, right? So that was bad. That was like a good solid 2 years where I was just like, I am not going out there. So I had to get out and like start meeting a lot of people. And when I did, I went like fully into meeting people through the chamber. I did lots of like collaborations with folks, tons and tons of collaborating. If anybody needed a space to like rent or like host something, I was like, my mattress store will host it, which is super random, by the way. But I did it and it worked. And I met a ton of people. So I had like this, I went from like basically, I'd say 50 to 100 with my growing my network. And that was how I started to find clients. I didn't even really, I just kind of put like, I had a local transportation company. And she just was like, I really like the posts you do for your business. Will you do them for my business? So it was kind of stuff like that. Like people were like, oh, I like your newsletter. Will you do my newsletter? I like your website. Will you do my website? I'm like, I will do literally anything. And that was where it started. I would do anything for everyone. And I quickly learned that niching down in however, there's so many different ways to niche, right? But for me, it was really niching down in service and how I was going to be offering my work to people and say, I am strictly a copywriter. I do not post to your social media for you. I do not design your website. You don't want me designing your website. Trust me. I don't do your graphics in Canva and I will not edit your podcast. Thank you very much.
How did you survive this like 6-month period? Like if you were actively hosting events, trying to sell the business and also helping other people with their marketing, how did you not just burn to the ground and burn out? Because that sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it probably was a lot. I mean, it was 7 years ago, so I was a little younger. But I will also say it was a really exciting time because there was a lot of possibility and opportunity. Like closing something and letting go of something is really, really hard. It's really, really emotional. You feel like you failed in a lot of ways. People are constantly telling you how sad and sorry they are to see you go while never having been in to support you in the first place, right? So it's like, okay, great. There's a lot of emotions and feelings in it. And looking forward to the next thing is also really, really energizing and really, really exciting. And so I think it was partly that. Like I knew I was creating something and it wasn't just this. I also started at the same time. You're going to think I'm nuts, but at the same time, I started like a women's entrepreneurship organization locally.
Oh.
And that was also how I kind of expanded my network. But we had like events and peer groups are like masterminds and like an online group and things like that. So I felt very supported in my endeavors by the like group I was actually cultivating for myself. And I felt very excited about like whatever direction I'm going next, it's going to be a good one. So I sort of think that probably helped. And I, at the beginning, and I would not do this now, but I did a lot of things like working really late at night or working all weekend long for my clients. Like I can remember I was facing the window at that time. My desk was turned the other way, but I was on the phone with a client one Sunday, like pretty much all day long. And I just remember being like, this has whittled me down now to like $4 an hour because I did retainers. So when I look back on it, I'm like, that is how I did it. And I will say, Chris, at one point I did like not do myself. I think I ended up in the emergency room once for like a kidney infection. I think it was because I was not taking care of myself. I was like just running myself ragged. So it did have consequences. And I think the way I got through it was that there was a lot of energy and it was coming at me from all sides. So
What was one of the first collaborations that you did that really kind of poured fuel on the fire for you?
One of the first ones that, well, can I give you two? I'm going to give you two.
Sure,
Oh,
go for it, please.
okay. So one on a real big scale was that I put on this event for women in New Hampshire who were entrepreneurs. And we just kind of, me and my collaborator, we were like, you know what? We're just going to throw this thing, whatever, if 20, 40 people show up, we'll be happy. Well, 165 women entrepreneurs from the area came, and we were like, oh my gosh, we're onto something. So we kept doing those events, and basically it was just they just wanted to hear, like you're doing with your show, they just wanted to hear other entrepreneurs share their stories of how they built their businesses. And like, it was a real inspiring, beautiful night. So we were from there able to get like, sponsorships, and we kept going with those. But one I did on my own that I think helped me with my marketing and content writing copywriting and stuff at the time was I would actually go and I ran like a local business blog. So I offered, I said to the chamber, I'll write this weekly blog for one chamber member a week, and I'll go to their business. I'll take photos. I'll do the write up, and then I'll give it to you guys. You can post it as like the Tuesdays on the Town blog. And so that was just me getting to go meet like all my other chamber members. I didn't really love chamber events. And so this was like a way better way for me to meet everybody and do them a service at the same time. So I know I keep coming back to this, but I think that when you approach any collaboration, it's give. And I think if you really approach it with like, you know what, I'm just going to give my all. And actually, I don't expect anything back from this necessarily. It's such a better place to come at it than like, ooh, I'm collaborating with this person and I hope to get, X amount of leads to my website or X amount of book sales or whatever the case may be, which is how a lot of people approach them. So those are two examples. And I think I gave you two so that people can get like different ideas of what it could look like.
So my last question for you is simply, how are you defining success right now?
I think it is a whole life kind of picture. So I'm really all about my family. I'm really all about like my home and my health and my own like mental happiness, and also having a nice bank account, right? So for me, success is kind of like, am I trending towards the life that I want to live? But am I also able to be present and just really, really enjoy what I've kind of already got, what I've already created? Like that for me is success. So if I can wake up and I'm like, okay, I am working today and I'm making money today, and I'm also really, really happy at the end of the day that I have my home and whatever book I'm reading, So
Yeah.
It's real simple. Like I've pared back my life so much to simplicity, and it feels the most successful it has ever been.
The question I want to look at today is, what would growth look like if you designed your business around the types of people that you wanted to spend time with? And I think it's simple to fall into the trap where your business grows and scales naturally over time, and it tends to go in a particular direction. One success leads to another, which leads to another, and that train goes in a specific way. Sometimes that looks like a root system, right? Like if you spread yourself too thin, you might be doing something over all the way on the right and then all the way over here on the left, and there isn't a lot of congruence between those things. Or in a different way, might kind of lead down like this like snaking path that's going in one direction, but maybe it's not the direction that you initially thought it would go. And so when is the last time that you really thought about who do you enjoy spending time with? And that's from an internal team member perspective as well as a client perspective, putting both of those together. Because no matter which way that your business grows, whether it's more like the root structure or some sort of snaking singular pathway that might just be pointed in the wrong direction, if you're not hanging out with the people that you want to do work with and do life with, eventually this business that you created because you have a passion for the work will end up becoming a job to you. Now, I realize that Not every aspect of being an entrepreneur, a founder, whatever that happens to look like, is not going to be all roses the whole time, right? There's going to be aspects of what we have to do that we just don't like doing. For me, that's long-term planning. For whatever reason, I suck at long-term planning and also defining an ideal client profile as well. But there's aspects of what we have to do that's not fun. It's very rare to find somebody that is running their own business where they thoroughly enjoy every piece of what they get to do on a regular basis. But my challenge here for you is, especially to those folks that have been able to be running a business for more than a few years, is to really think about the clients that I have, the team members that I have. If I were to have gone back to, what the original look of what my business was, and I'm looking now kind of forward and seeing exactly what it is today, does that excite me? Like, you are allowed to pivot. You are allowed to change. You do not have to stay. If you're going in one direction, you're allowed to turn that steering wheel as honestly as hard as you want. If it's your business, you can slam the brakes on and spin the wheel all the way to the left-hand side and take a hard 90-degree turn if you want to, or you can take a slow turn with it as well. And so just because your business has went down this slightly different path than you expected does not mean you have to stay that exact direction. And that's what Emily got me thinking.